The highest leverage work in the entire sales process is the sales meeting itself. Imagine having someone on your team who took care of everything except for just the meeting. Just out of curiosity, does anybody here need a sales rep? Okay, cool. How many people have hired a sales rep and it didn't work out? Right, okay. So here's some common problems. We want to hire a sales rep, but we're not sure we can afford one. Is that anybody like, can I even afford a sales rep? Right. Hired a sales rep that looks great on paper, but they ended up kind of sucking in the end, right? Is anybody, yeah, they weren't so hot. You know, it said they had so much experience. Or you had a sales rep, and this is like the toughest situation. You have a sales rep who's just good enough to not get fired. Yeah. Every time you think of firing, they get a win. You're like, you know. So here's some facts. For solopreneurs, the founder is almost always sells better than anyone else. And even on established salespeople, 1 to 2 people are carrying it. And what's interesting is that 80% of the work in sales is not around the sales meeting. It's about all the stuff around, like prospecting and emailing and following up and setting the meeting. And then afterward, doing the proposal and following up with that. That's like 80% of the work. The highest leverage work in the entire sales process is the sales meeting itself. So if we can get the sales meeting for the 1 or 2 people who are carrying it all, or the solopreneur, we'd be in really good shape. Imagine having someone on your team who took care of everything except for just the meeting. So that was the approach. So this is the way of thinking about it that we have at Red Bank Green. So we created this role called the street team, which is kind of like an appointment setter and an account manager and an executive assistant all in one. So someone who sets up meetings for the best person on the team to handle them. To handle the prospecting, campaign management, they follow a very simple rule set of what to do on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis. And so when it comes to hiring the right person, sometimes we get somebody who's not really like a fit for the team, not a good culture fit. So this is the process I've gotten throughout Broadstreet. I feel like we've gotten pretty good. When I put together a job posting, right, what I want to do is I want to completely bleed who we are. I want to shout who we are, our mission, our values. I want to be as weird as I can possibly be in the job posting. And I want to outline exactly what they're going to do. I want to outline the pay. I want to put everything on the table. And the reason I want to do that is that I want to make sure I get the right person, that anybody who applies after putting together this job posting is probably someone who's going to work out well. So this is what we did. And I have a QR code at the end of this because I knew I wasn't going to be able to get through all of the individual things. But when we put together a job posting ad, job posting, the application, what it looked like when someone applied, the things we asked for when they did apply, what the first applicant, what their application looked like, the test task that we had them do to make sure they could kind of get back in a reasonable amount of time, and then the SOP, the process that we sent over to them is like, is this something that you can do on a daily basis? So here's a job posting. Red Bank Green street team member in a Google Doc, $20 an hour. Probably best for people who don't care that much about money. Apply here. So it's got me and Brian at last year's Lion Conference, Long Live Local News. We talk about who we are, how important the stuff that we do is, the stuff that they're going to do, the most important things. You like working with people. You can see yourself fighting tirelessly to help Red Bank businesses get their message out. You love Red Bank and Red Bank Green's mission. And then we talk about what they'll actually do. So there's a ton of personality. It is not a generic job posting, right? But I knew that anybody who applies to that batshit job posting is probably going to be a pretty good fit. It's true. You attract your tribe. You send out that signal, the right people are going to flow your way. So then when it comes to the application, just a Google form. What's your name? Give us your LinkedIn, right? What are your favorite TV books, shows, all that kind of stuff. And the one that's an absolute killer, record a 1-minute video telling us about yourself and why you like to work with us. A lot of people don't want to do that. They say, well, if you give us a meeting, I'll do it. But the people who are really good are the ones who actually take the time to do it. So we're filtering out. I say, why is local news important, right? What do you think you can bring to this gig that should definitely be considered? And then the first applicant, this was just the first one. I ran it on Red Bank Green because the people that I want working for me happen to be the people that I hope are reading the site, right? And then you guys aren't going to be able to see this, but the first one filled this out, have any TV, books, shows, sports teams. What do you love about Red Bank? Damn near everything. It has the bustle and intrigue and the city and the charm, right? They did a 1-minute video, which was charming in itself. I want it to have, bring it. All right, so that was the first one, and then anyway, I did the interview, and then the next thing was like amazing, perfect, culture fit, and then we had some basic test tasks. So that's how I did it, and there's a little bit more to it. All right, I doubt this QR code is going to work. Amanda, if you want to send out the presentation afterward. And so basically, if we have time at the end of this, I want to go into how to set them up for success. So when you hire this person, what does the SOP document look like? The process that they're going to follow. So on day one, you can say, take a read through this, and you can step back, and it's not consuming a lot of your time. They essentially train themselves, and they know what to do. Right? Okay, I probably went over. Swing it. All right, next up we got Megan.